This call is being recorded.
I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
It is visible, right? Thank you. So I am clearly audible to everyone, and my screen is also visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. A very good afternoon to all the participants of this very wonderful STTP organized by ARS College of Pharmacy. And which I am going to deliver is mainly for enhancing our teaching abilities by combining the conventional practices that we are following and innovative approaches that we have learned in recent past. I know that since last 1.5 years or almost 2 years from now, 2 years, we are in a big situation because of COVID pandemic. And due to this COVID pandemic, many innovative things has been implemented in teaching learning methodology. But I'm sure that once this pandemic is over, we will back to our normal routine. Yes, we have set new normals in terms of this online teaching. Even when now I deliver this session, I do not feel as good as when I deliver the session in front of a physical audience. But it is the need of an hour, and that is why we are going for it. I would like to tell you some highlights about my presentation before we proceed. The purpose and the things that I have included in this presentation is mainly related to the classroom teaching. Now, when I say classroom teaching, yes, we learn many things, we discuss things, but as far as the implementation is concerned, when it comes to the root level implementation, many a times we face trouble. If we would like to implement, many a times there are a lot of resistances from student end, right? And hence, being a teacher, it is our responsibility to deliver effectively. It is our responsibility to create the environment in such a way that my students gain the knowledge and at the same time they enjoy the session that is delivered from my end. I'm going to tell you so many techniques. They are very small techniques, but I found it effective. And as all of you are from the teaching fraternity, I request everyone to enthusiastically participate. I don't want to make any kind of one-sided bombardment. So you can stop anytime, use questions anytime. However, we will have a question answer session at the end of the session, but you can stop me, you can share your views also. So it is not that I am master of these all things and I am going to teach you. I am going to share with you. And it may happen that you might also have some experiences in line with what I'm going to discuss that you can share anytime. So Naitik sir, so far I hope that I'm clearly audible and my presentation is also visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible and you are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Naitik. So I would like to start my presentation with these two pictures that you can see on your screen. If you see the first picture, then you can see there is light. I have written a Sanskrit statement here which says Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. This Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya actually indicates in English that it takes from darkness to luminance. Now, if you see the classrooms, then left-hand side classroom, you see that there is huge physical light. But if I tell you about the lights of the human beings, the mind light of the human beings, mindsets of the human beings, then that does not look good, right? But if you see on the right-hand side picture, then they are attentive. If you see their faces, if you see the ambience of the class, it so the purpose of such STTP and the purpose of such sessions is to take you from left hand side picture to right hand side picture. I know very well that students do not physically sleep in your classes, but they mentally sleep. So being a teacher, it is our responsibility to create the ambience of the class in such a way, or make our delivery in such a way that students find it interesting. Students find it students find it enjoyable, right? So let me start. I would like to start with our education system. What you see right now on your screen is a picture of the education system. Now, something which I am going to share with you is not related to the modern era education system, but we have this system is having 4 pillars, right? One pillar I am going to show you, and then rest of the pillars you can tell me, or you can guess. If it is discussed earlier, we can skip. I have huge content. So if you feel somewhere in between that it is already covered in the previous session, because I have not attended all the sessions, I have just got the brief information about the session from the coordinator. So you can tell me. This first pillar of the education system is Balak. Now when I say Balak, it is student. I have taken it from a Sanskrit phrase, right? What do you guess? What are the remaining 3 pillars of the education systems? Remember, they are human beings. Huh? They are human beings. Anyone?
Teacher.
Teacher, somebody speaking. Yes, absolutely right. Teachers. Yes, please. Learner. Somebody saying.
Parents.
Parents. Very good. Parents. Yes, you can write in the chat box. Yes, parents. Then yeah, I got the answer, parents. Somebody is writing parents in the chat box. So teachers, parents, still one is left. Oh yeah, that's good. Administration, somebody is saying. Fine. So all the 4 you have identified. I have used different words here. The second word I am sharing with you is Chalak. This Chalak means teachers, the people who actually teach the students, right? Third is Palak. Palak is nothing but parents. And 4th one is administration. These days there are so many self-finance institutes, and we used to say a lot of things about the management, right? So 4th one is Sanchalak. So any education system, whether it is current era or earlier ages, okay, ancient Indian education system, we have these 4 pillars: Palak, Chalak, Palak, and Sanchalak. Now, if I share with you about 2 important pillars which actually runs the education system in a day-to-day routine, then they are these 2. Look, I have highlighted. They are Balak and Chalak. Yes, Palak, yeah, they give the fees, and they are interested to have a good education to their board. Right? As far as Sanchalaks are concerned, administrators are concerned, they are mainly interested to handle the things, the input and output in terms of money and the balance sheets and so many things, right? But majorly, it is governed and run by the Balak and the Chalak. So, as far as Balak is concerned, as you all of you are from the teaching fraternity, you must agree with me that these days the student in first year, second year, even up to final year, they are not mature enough to understand their responsibilities. They are not mature enough to understand that what kind of problems that they are going to face. They are not able to understand that what kind of challenges they are going to face after the graduation, isn't it? So ultimately it will be the responsibility of only teacher, because Palak and Sanchalak are not in the education in a day-to-day routine, right? So my point is, it is we who will be responsible for making the education system good. Yeah, you might say so many things about if the salary is not good, if the facilities are not good, that all things are there. But once I am in my class, once I am in front of my students, I must forget these all things. Then only I'll be able to deliver properly. So before I proceed, I would like to share with you about a good book that I was reading. It's an ancient book. And in that book, it is written, then a teacher should be a good actor also. So I surprised, and what is this? It was written in Hindi कि शिक्षक जो है ना उसको नाटक करना आना चाहिए. So I was surprised at what is this? Why the teacher should be a good actor also? And then it explained very well. It explained very well. Say when you enter in the class, just before 5 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour or on the same day or on the previous day, you are facing so many problems. You have family issues. You have fight with your principal. You have fight with the management. You have fight yesterday with your wife or with your spouse. I'm not using the word wife, but with your spouse, right? So when you enter in the class, and if you go with these all thoughts, do you think that you will be able to deliver effectively? The answer is no. And that is why it was saying that the teacher should be a good actor. I have so many problems outside of my mind. But when I enter in, I should focus only on my technical aspects. Okay, so let us proceed. We have a lot of responsibilities. That's why I said, yeah, some of the quotes I'm making, if you find the quotes about a teacher, you will get thousands of quotes. To start with, teacher is the greatest innovator. Yes, you have seen all these innovations. Right now I'm speaking in front of my desktop, and it's very difficult for me to talk with my desktop because I cannot see the physical human beings in front of me, right? But innovations are there. We have started using tabs, we have started using camera, we have started using all the kind of technical gadgets due to this pandemic. But that innovation should also be there in your subject, right? It should be also there in your subject. Yes, Dr. Anjana, would you like to say anything? Okay. So, teacher is the greatest innovator. Okay. Some people also used to say that you should keep learning to stay young. Most of us are teaching in college, and that is the big advantage that we got, that we are always in contact with the youth. For your information, people do not consider this point, but when you are surrounded by the youth, your mind also remains young and your body also remains young. That is a big advantage being a teacher teaching fraternity in the college. Dr. Naitik, I would like to know from your end that I hope that all the faculty members who have joined are the college teachers. Am I right?
Yes, sir. All the senior faculty and the new joining faculty also.
Okay, fine. So all are college teachers. All are college teachers. That's why I'm saying we stay young, isn't it? And when we teach them, to teach is to learn twice. Need not to say why is it so, right? When we say about our role in front of students, many a times we become dictator. That's not good, right? So without becoming a dictator, if you are good to guide the students without dominating, that is the good quality of the teacher. I'm going to with you the important qualities of a teacher at the later stage of this presentation, right? So learning never ends. Everyone knows that. If you read the books, even if you are not a teacher, people used to say that a person should be a student throughout the life, but that people speak. It is required to implement. Learning never ends. But now the next question is, what is more important? Is it teaching or learning? Why? Because when you say teaching, it's not all about whether you have AC room, you have good chair to sit with cushion and everything, or you have good multimedia or what. So that creates the ambient. But we need to think more about methods of learning. So in this session, I will also share with you that how the learning portion can be effectively done, right? So good teaching is created by the circumstances. So you need to create that kind of circumstances in the classroom. If you can create that circumstances, yes, you will be definitely able to do the significant, the students will be definitely able to do the significant learning. Okay, so we will focus on the learning more, because so far, yes, since Elisa, we many a times we focus more on teaching and not from the learning, right? So yes, I am skipping this slide because this slide is already covered by somebody else earlier. However, I have prepared it earlier. This is a learning pyramid. You know what is the average retention rate. Lecture is 5%, reading is 10%, audio visual 20%, demonstration 30%, practice by doing 75%, and teaching others and immediate use is the 90%. Okay, I hope you already have discussion on this slide. So I am not discussing the details about this slide. Okay, but last point is important. Teaching others or by immediate use, you can learn 90%. Do you know why? Anybody knows why a human being can have 90% retention when he or she teaches? Hello? Can anyone tell me? Okay. So this is what happens in the class also. I am attentive because I am talking to you. I am attentive because I am a speaker, right? Similarly, when you teach others, let me tell you, yeah, well-developed brain, somebody is writing. Let me tell you about, just a minute, huh? Let me start my, chat box, fine. But I will not be able to change the slide then. Anyways, I'll tell you the reason. See, when you teach others, you try to read his or her facial expression. So your eyes are attentive. If the person who is listening you, say student, if they say something, you listen. So your ears are attentive. If somebody speaks and asks the question, then your brain will give the response. So as far as the human organs are concerned, whether it is your brain, your eyes, your ears, your body language, anything, that all things are attentive. And when all things are attentive, this retention remains same. Why? Because when you teach, you always try to convince them. It is a matter of convincing. It is a matter of the satisfaction from the other end, whether that person is able to understand what you are speaking or not, right? That is why if you teach others, then it can create or it can take your retention up to 90%. Okay, and we are under that group. Yes, when I say we are under that group, that means this all can be done by the students also by various activities. Huh? So can think that when you only deliver in the class, it has only 5% retention. So students are learning only 5% if you are speaking, or if you are doing one-sided bombardment, right? So yes, we have to think about the other options, and that is why I said at the beginning that teacher is a greatest innovator, right? So let us go ahead. Now this life cycle is for all of us. I'm going to show you a cycle where you will also feel that yes, I do for your life as well, right? Because I did it for me. Okay, so when I was in my graduation, I used to have some certain things in my mind that I would like to get good grades. I would like to learn the experimental part of engineering well, right? So do well in college. This is always the goal of sincere students. I'm not saying everyone, but sincere students always have this goal that do well in college, right? Now, if you do well in college, you get good grades and you become graduate. Once you are graduated, most of the attendees are at least with the master degree, as they are college professors. So you graduate. After graduation, if you would like to do the post graduation, then grades are not important. If you recall, in all the master programs, we have thesis, we have dissertation, right? So we also try to understand some component of the research, right? So other than grades, now I am exploring my abilities about the research. I become postgraduate, right? After becoming postgraduate, I find a good job. Most of us are in the academics. So I have chosen the example that if you have a overall performance good, not only in the graduation and post-graduation, but also during the interviews, right? Then after your overall performance, you get the job. Say you are working as an assistant professor somewhere, right? Can someone tell me what is needed if you wish to become from assistant professor to associate professor?
PhD.
Okay, good. So you need doctoral degree, right? So research plus something which I mentioned, when you say PhD, nowadays people will also say that, oh, you are PhD, but how many publications do you have? How many projects do you have? Isn't it? So PhD is the must. And after that, I have not written anything as research plus something, because that plus question mark, there are a lot of technical as well as non-technical things are there. Say I have all the abilities, but not there. How can I become associate professor or professor? So many things are there, but the goal is we have started our journey from do well in the college, and then graduate, postgraduate, assistant professor, associate professor, professor. Now this circle or this part, right? This part is my job. This part is my job. But what should I do as a part of this job? I should go back. That's why I said, why it is a life cycle. This last part is very important. Yes. Teach the students and do well in college again. This is the responsibility of the teacher, professor, right? So this is a life cycle. I started my journey with do well in college, and still I am doing do well in college. But now what I'm doing in my as a job is something different as compared to what I did during my graduation days, right? But this is the life cycle of us. So then who is a professor? Now when I use the word professor, do not include, see, I would like to focus only on teaching. I don't want to focus anything on research, publication and that all stuff. Okay. So when I say who is a professor, I mean to say who is a college teacher. Who is college teacher, right? Or who can become college teacher. We say that anyone can become the college teacher. If you have referred a past decade joining of faculty members, you say, oh, we have become professor, this was the environment, and now these new guys are not doing anything. They do not have sense, they do not have any kind of courtesy, or they have bad attitude, so many things, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about who can be a good professor. Who can be a good professor? The very first thing needed is that person should have effective domain with enriched knowledge and positive attitude. Knowledge and positive attitude. These two should be needed. If you have this, then, and if you have both of these, and if you student, then there is a internalization of the subject. You will try to understand the subject, and the subject will be assimilated in you, right? This is at the beginning. At the later stage of your teaching, there will be development of automatism. What is this automatism? It will be recalling of your concept and facts about the subject automatically. If you ask somebody who is teaching the subject first time, if some student is asking the question, that teacher needs to think that answer should I give to the student. But if you are asking a person who is a professor and teaching the course since last 20 years, do you think that he need to think about the answer? No, right? So you will be able to recall the conceptual things about that subject. I'm talking about the domain now, right? That subject automatically. And that is nothing but the command over the subject. And that is why the word professor has come, because a person who can profess about that specific course becomes the professor, right? So who are having less than 5 years experience in the group, even though you are not asking me, I advise you to take new subjects I advise you to take all the subjects of your domain. I advise you to refer as many as books that you can for your subject and become master of your subject. You will realize this not immediately, because I don't think you have that kind of environment in every college, right, or every institute, but you will be successful being a good teacher among your students, right? And that is the credit to us. How much salary am I gaining? Or if that professor is gaining a lot of salary and not doing anything, why should I do that? That's not the question. The question is, if your alumni call you and says that, sir, so-and-so things you taught us in the college days and it is helpful to us. We have learned so-and-so things from your lectures. These are the compliments. And this is the life actually. If you listen it, then you will feel good. And this profession is not about getting the salary only. Yes, I understand that component is important for our life, right? But at the same time, satisfaction is also important. Okay, so professor is one who can profess the course in this sequence, right? So what is the aim of teaching? So far I said about who is professor, what is professor's life. Okay, so what is the aim of teaching? The aim of teaching is to make the student learning possible. The learning part. In the next slide, I'm going to have a small break in between. When I say break, I will take your inputs so that you remain attentive in the session, right? I understand the problems of post-lunch session, and that's why we will have that small thing or small discussion about the next slide. So, but this is the last slide before that. What is the aim of teaching? So here it is. We believe that the students who are intellectual, they are good. We believe that the students who are giving good grades, they are good students. Yes, it's not wrong. But is that the only thing that we need to do, or is that the only aim of the teaching? Can someone add something to this intellectual part? I have another picture on the right hand side. Would you like to add anything in this? If not only actual, then what else? Yes, Dr. Neelam, you are absolutely right. And the same word I have used. He's saying overall development. So we say overall development, but now the question is, what do you mean by overall development? Okay, so my next slide is for that. What do I mean by the overall development? But remember, teaching is both art and science. It's not only technical, it is also something which may create the enthusiasm in students, right? If you meet your students, even a beautiful smile and a good morning, that is sufficient enough to make your day, right? But for that, we could have good relations. And if we have good relations, we can definitely do the very good classroom teaching. So what is aim of teaching? Yes, somebody is saying socialism as well as educated decision maker. That's right. So that is what my next slide is. In this next slide, now you can unmute your mic and speak, or you can write in the chat, whatever you want to do. I'm going to put around 5 points, and these 5 points are taken as an expectations from the graduating students. When I use the word graduating students, means when the student is leaving the institute, what are the expectations from that student? Now, when I say what are the expectations from that student, being a professor, it is our responsibility to mold the students in such a way that when he graduates, this expectation should be gained by that individual, right? So forum is open. You can unmute your mic, or you can write in your in the chat box about yes, create something new, mastery on the subject. Good.
So leadership.
Yes, Mr. Dr. Surjit. Leadership. Very good. Leadership. Fine. It's leadership. Okay. Anything else? Decision making, being a good human. Very good. Develop the skills. Now, Dr. Anil is saying develop the skills. That is absolutely right. there are so many skills that a student can develop during the career. Yes, something more?
Society and safety concern. Society and safety.
Very good.
Society and safety concern.
Okay, okay. Concerns, fine. Fine. Responsible and loyal. Employable. Oh, good. Good, very good. Ability to adapt constantly changing the working environment. Fine. So he should be able to take up the challenges. Ethical behavior. Okay, fine. Let me go ahead. But before I proceed, okay, entrepreneurship, understanding the time management, so many skills, right? So many skills. Tell me, being a teacher, that all these things are needed in the students. I agree, all these skills are needed in the students. But how do our students learn these skills during the graduation days? Do we have that in curriculum? Do we have ethical values in the curriculum? Do we have loyalty in the curriculum? Do we have responsible human behavior in the curriculum? And even if it is there in the curriculum as a subject, do you think that that can be taught in the classroom? What is your opinion? Somebody saying good and responsible civic. Yeah, absolutely right. See, I'm sorry to say this. But these all things are very much needed in the class, needed in the society.
Actually, sir, whatever it is discussed in the last few minutes, it was not directly in syllabus or curriculum, but we need to demonstrate the student near to students such a way that we can inculcate that through various courses or laboratory experiments or project work, something like. Okay. But if we want to improve the communication skill or the presentation skill, so definitely I must conduct my class such a way that students are involved for presenting their work, or they may discuss themselves. If I want to improve their leadership skill, definitely I can give some project them, and then I can say them. Then you just some of it, I can say them. Then you just lead the team. So in this way we can improve their this kind of skill.
Absolutely right, sir. Dr. Surjit, you are absolutely right. Okay.
Thank you.
Somebody wrote values to be taught by the behavior, and that's also right. See, if I am not reaching my class in time, can I expect my students to attend the class on time? The simple answer is no. Even though I am a teacher and I don't think that the students will listen to you. Students will follow your behavior, right? So I should take care of these all things over and above my technical skills. But there are some people, see, I'm also telling you some bad points of the teaching learning process, and this will happen. I'm not saying it is happening only at one institute. In the major institute, that's happening. But when it happened, what should be my role? That I would like to clear during this session. That is, somebody is good in leadership skill and he is having class of a technical course, right? So is it good to talk half an hour about the behavior, time management, communication skills, leadership skills, and not to talk about the technical matter which you should actually teach during that session? The answer is no. But yes, if I'm teaching, it's half an hour of the class, it's a total 1 hour class. So after half an hour, I take 2 minutes, or if somebody equation that so-and-so student is not behaving or not maintaining the decorum of the class, then within 2 minutes, I can say certain things. But then I should come back to my technical things. So there are many people, they are good preachers. They are good preachers, but these preachers do not have any kind of stand because they do not teach. If you are not technically sound, if you are not teaching, I don't think your student will take anything from. That is what my personal observation is, right? So let me go ahead, and that is why my very first point from the graduating student is this area of study. See, if he is an electrical engineer, he should have proper understanding and concept of his or her own branch. If he is a doctor, accordingly, pharmacy student, accordingly. right? So area of study, highest priority. Yes, by following the curriculum, we go for this. Now, in line with Dr. Surjit said that we need to also think about the remaining 4 by giving co-curricular and extracurricular activities. It is possible. So the second point as per my list is language. When I say language, do not think that somebody is fluent in English and somebody is not fluent. If a person is from the local medium, it may happen that he is not able to speak in English properly. In the same way, I am a non-native speaker, right? But still I try my best to speak in English. So have ability to read, should comprehend, he should be able to express in the language. So expressibility is one thing. Communication skills are different, expressions are different, soft skills are different. This session is not for that, so I'm not going in the details of that. But language is the second thing that is expected from the graduating students. That if a student is knowing the answer of a question, he or she should be able to speak. Otherwise, what will happen? You know, something which is going on during this corona. You must have observed that am I audible? Am I audible? That has become a tagline of the teacher now. Teacher is asking 3 times, am I audible? None of the student is giving response that yes, sir, you are audible, even though teacher is actually audible. Right? So that response is important, and that can be developed during a classroom teaching. Okay? How? We will see later on. Next is society. Somebody already said about society. So the student should know the social, economical, and political system. Why I'm saying this thing? Because if you are thinking only about the technology, then actually the implementation of the technology in these 3 areas. If I'm developing a product, that product will actually go to the society. It's for the betterment of the society, right? Now, if my product is not economical, the society will not take it. So students should also know that what is the economical status of the society. And third one, I am not going in the details. I'm sorry to say in this on this national platform that our political system is not at all good. And why I am saying these things, see, somebody will say then you should change it. Okay, it will take a lot of time because it takes a lot of time to deteriorate all things. But the major problem of our system is interference of political people in almost all the sectors of the nation is the biggest problem of this country. Everything. You refer ancient literature, you will come to know that there was no intervention of any political person, at least in the education. Anyways, that's not the point of discussion, but students should know these all 3 structures. Next is relationships. Now see, that person has to work in a company, right? So when, say, an engineer or a doctor, he's at the good position, and the management or the company is giving a team, say 25 people are working under that person. So that person should be able to create a better environment at the workplace, and that is also with good harmony among everyone. And this is taught in college. Many people feel that these last 3 points I said cannot be taught. Yes, it can be taught. It can be taught by our behavior. It can be taught by calling the students personally in the cabin and making the counseling of the students. It can definitely be developed if you are giving the task in a team, rightly mentioned by some professor, that if you are giving a project, when they are working in a team, then they will get these abilities, right? So relationships, okay? And this is not needed only for play. It is equally needed for the family life, right? Equally needed for the family life. And that is where the problem lies. If you refer the ancient education system, we were not having so many divorces. And the reason is the students were not only taught the technical things, but they were practicing this kind of relationship developments also during their career, which is not at all there in the curriculum. Anyway, being a teacher, it is our responsibility and we should do it off class. And last one, Many people said about this ethical value, then moral, then attitude, everything, right? So self-reflection, responsibility, courage, attitude of the service, these all things should be there in the person. This character is a very big word. I don't want to go in the details of the character because these days, when somebody uses the word a person is a characterless, it is always related to the relation, the sexual relations between the two human beings. But that is not at all true. That is not at all true. Character is something different, and that includes whatever I have written here. Okay, so think now, this expectations. Do we actually up to the mark deliver these expectations for our institute graduating students? I know most of you know, or some of you may feel that I am trying, but the other people are not supporting, right? But we should start. If we are not doing it, we should rethink on our day-to-day routine. We should rethink on our habits. We should rethink on our relations with the students and delivery, right? So these are the expectations. And for these expectations now, how should be the class? That we are going to discuss, right? How should be the class? I always say that there are 3 E of teaching learning process. And that 3 E's are, you people can ask the questions in between, and you can interrupt me anytime if you would like to share anything in line with what I am speaking. I hope you are with me. Somebody is writing very practical, sir. Yes, it is practical. I am talking about practicals only. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. But now if you have any questions, you can write in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and ask the questions. Yes, I was talking about this 3 E of teaching learning process, right? In this first E, it is effective. Second E is efficient, and third E is the enjoyable. For your information, the curriculum design is such that we can make it effective and efficient. But are we actually able to make it enjoyable? Question mark. Right? Yes, we can do that. We can do that. How can we do that? I'll show you. So how much and how well the student has learned. That shows the effectiveness. Efficient means, say I am delivering for half an hour and I pass on the content, and I'm delivering for the same content, I'm taking 1 hour, right? So time, effort, and energy. That indicates how much effort my delivery is. And the third one is enjoyable. Now, this is always a problem. Why it is a problem? Because it is an optimized character or optimized E in the teaching learning process. If you make students, if you are making your session too enjoyable, then they will not learn. If you are not making if you are bombarding everything technically throughout 1 hour, that is not enjoyable, right? So that is why in a balanced way it should go. Positive psychological and emotional state of mind that you should pick up from the student and make your session accordingly. Make your teaching learning process accordingly. How you can make, we'll tell you soon, right? But maximization of these 3 criteria, maximization, I'm saying, my math people will understand what I mean to say, because they know about maximization and minimization. Okay, so that will happen. But how can we do that? We can do that only by 2 things. One, positive engagement. Now, when I say positive engagement, my students are always good, right? But during that time also, your behavior should be such that they are free to ask the questions, and at the same time, they should not make any kind of nonsense in the class. Both the things are required. Okay. I have seen, I'm sorry to mention being an IITian, but I have seen that during my IIT days, during my PhD tenures, I have seen so many professors were smoking openly, and they were also smoking with their students, right? So they feel that I have a technology and I know everything, I am a good researcher, I have these many PhD students. But I'm sorry to mention that if you do not keep safe distance from your students, then I don't think you are a successful teacher. Right? I will tell you where to put the boundary. I will tell you where to put the boundary and how to put the boundary in the coming slides. But what I do for this 3E, I can do that with two essential tools. Tool number one is motivation. Now, when I say this motivation will be in the form of a very small sessions in between the class. And second one is appropriate teaching learning techniques or strategies. Right? My strategy should be also good. If I'm speaking, my students should feel that, oh, if I miss the class of so-and-so professor, then I will lose something. Feel that, oh, I do not feel any kind of burden on my head when I'm attending the class of professor so-and-so. Right? So that techniques are required. So now my next part of the presentation is related to the techniques. Which techniques you should follow. So we will go for the methodology. Once again, you are free to write the questions in the chat box, as well as you can ask muting your mic. Okay. So inappropriate approaches. These approaches are followed since ages, right? Corona have created a lot of problems across the world, but one good thing I found personally from Corona is most of the professors have started preparation of their lectures with teaching aids like PPT, okay, small videos or animations. So far, they are not used to follow these all techniques. So what were their technique then before Corona? Before Corona, they used to do the things by using a chalk and talk method. I'm not saying chalk and talk method is bad, huh? I would like to say that it should be a balanced uses. How? We'll see. But let us first try to understand inappropriate approach. Right? See, in past half an hour, it's already half an hour. In past, even more than that, sorry. In past 45 minutes or so, in between, I have asked you many times that you speak so that you become attentive. The same thing should also happen in your class. One-way flow, not good. Faculty often continuously talks without students' response. What is in his mind? Do you know? I would like to finish this topic. That is in his mind. Right? So, topic by any way or by any means, do you think it is effective or enjoyable? No. Most of the professors who are not using the teaching aids, they only transfer the materials from the textbook or lecture notes into students' books. Yes, we know that. Insufficient interaction with the students in the classroom. These are the problems I am saying, okay? Only theory without practical and real life examples, situations and analogy. I'm going to show some examples of art. I have collected so many examples, but due to lack of time, I don't think I'll be able to go for everyone, but at least I will show you few of them. Okay, we'll show you few of them. So learning from memorization, but not understanding. So what will happen? Student will take something from your notebook. They will mug up there, will write in the examination, will get the good grades. But what about understanding? There is a problem. Okay, so let us now try to combine a traditional multimedia. You know about it, so I will quickly go through that so that we can discuss more about what are the techniques to implement. Okay, so traditional method, teacher and student. Yeah, in between something is there, but that is only whiteboard or blackboard in the earlier days. Okay, or green board because we are using glass boards these days. Okay, in multimedia, this along with the student and teacher, yes, we are using so many aids, right? What are we doing? So in traditional methods, there is only the communication between sender and the source. It is only in the form of information. Now see, if I don't know how many of you are elder than me and younger than me, but I have completed my graduation 22 years back, right? So if I recall my college days, then this education material was not available. Okay, if I need to find a book, I need to go to the library, ask the librarian, find the books. And that is also during our college days, they used to give only one day. I still remember it was Tuesday for electrical engineering people, students. So I can only borrow the book on Tuesday. Other than Tuesday, if I wish to have something, I cannot have, or I have to borrow from my friends. But nowadays, this information, it is good that because of this technology development, these informations are on our fingertips. If I ask you something, you can immediately Google it and give me the answer. So nowadays, the problem is not information. Earlier, it was the problem, right? But nowadays, it is not the problem. But still, traditionally, some of you are preferring chalk and talk. I'm going to compare this method with the PPT method in the next slide. But what happens with the chalk and talk? The students will listen or can hardly listen for 15 to 20 minutes, and then that fuse will go off. That fuse will go off, even though they do not tell you, but it goes off. And because of that, the delivery is not there. If somebody is from the medical science has joined, can you tell me that for how long a human being can concentrate without any kind of interaction? Please tell me. We do not have time. I have so many things. I have reached up to 15 slides only. Anybody from medical science or Dr. Line? 20 minutes, okay? Maximum 20 minutes. So now the question is, if you have 1 hour session, how you can interact with the students at the interval of these 20 minutes, okay? I used to do that after 10 minutes. Anyway, so I am going to quickly compare the two because I don't want to make any kind of statement that PPT is good or CNT is good. It is so, but when CNT is good and when PPT is good, that I would like to share with you. Okay, so CNT, a slow pace, because you need to write everything. Allow the student to follow the lecture more closely. See, if I'm writing on the board, my students will be able to think on that, write in their notebooks. If I have a PPT, yes, I'll go like anything and we'll say, oh, this theory is over. So this is good part. Keep the students busy in taking the notes and make them to pay the full attention. This might be the problem, that if I forget to write, from where I will get it. But yes, this technology has given good environment as far as this point is concerned, right? Help in showing students how to draw the simple structures neatly. If I show you a picture on PPT, I don't think students will gain the ability to draw that with himself or herself. But if I do that on board, that student will learn from my drawing also, right? Yes, I can go, but there is a problem that this second point, my students may not be able to follow me so fast, right? One more advantage is graphics and 3D animations. You can show it, right? Here I have just put the example. This TPS stands for thermal power plant. Being an electrical engineer, if I teach thermal power plant to my student, thermal power station to my student, and if I show them animation, or if I show them pictures of the equipments, right, so that they can have virtual tour. We have not listened this word before Corona. Virtual tour, right? So you need not to physically go to the company. Yes, your students can see that easily by using the virtual tool. Effective presentation of complex structures and diagrams. See, there are some diagrams which you draw physically on board, then it takes the whole lecture, right? That's why this is helpful. And lecture notes are readily available, and students do not have any kind of hurry in taking note of that, right? So these are the advantages. If I compare, this is the use. For theoretical courses and the courses with the derivation, my mathematics friends, they should go for the first method. Yeah, it can be combination also. Huh? And if you have courses that requires extensive uses of images, graphics and animations, you should go for PPT. But bottom line of this discussion is, an integrated approach of both the tools will have effective. Personally, I am doing it. In my department, what I have done, we have a blackboard, and nearby the blackboard, we have a screen. So some of the part of the lecture I take on the projector, and some of the part I'm teaching on the board, right? So combination is always good. But remember, teachers teach chalk, talk, OHP, PPT, image, nothing. If you give your PPT to your students, Do you think that they will be able to understand? They will be able to get the depth of the topic? The answer is no. So who is teaching? Teacher, not these all things. Okay, so these are the aids. That's why the word uses these are the aids. So this is a chalk and talk. Okay. Yes, somebody is saying he is teaching anatomy and physiology by PowerPoint, biostatistics, research methodology by chalk and talk. That's good, sir. That's good. Okay, let us proceed. Dear participants, I'm sorry, I'm not allowing you people to speak in between, and I just read your comments, because if we have interaction, I have a fear of not completing the session within time, right? So though I am saying that one-sided bombardment is not good, I might be doing the same thing, because we have only 1.5 hours or maximum 2 hours for this session. And what I'm saying is not for this kind of sessions, but it is for the subjects. Because say if I'm little slow, then I can teach the same thing in the next class. We have 4 classes per week or 3 classes per week, right? And if you consider 14-week teaching per semester, then you will have around 40 to 50 sessions. Okay, so these all things can be implemented in that, not like the sessions what I'm delivering right now. Okay, however, if you feel bored, you can talk with me in between and you can put your points, no problem at all. Right? So these are some facts. What are the facts? People are more impressed by what they see than what they hear. The same thing is happening right now also. If I show you a picture, that is better than what you listen from my speech, right? And that is why, remember this is for teachers. I hear and I forget. That is from the student side. I see and I believe, right? But I do and I understand. So practical implementation is important. So first part is this. You teach in the class, and then after follow these 3 for your students. If you do that, then you will be able to inculcate not only the technical knowledge, but also the other skills in your students, right? So this is the overview of what you are doing. Here in this animation, I have listed out some multimedia things that I'm using. Okay, let me share with you this slide I have prepared before Corona. So I have not added anything in the slide because Corona has given us so many things. One of them is this PPT teaching, because we are teaching our students through online mode, right? My question is, what can you add in your presentation? One word is written. One picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So one is image. Other than image, what else can you add? What else can you add other than image in your presentation? Oh, no one is giving answer. Informative video or model, very good. Very good, thank you. Thank you. Reader, sorry, thank you. Audio video, fine. Flow charts, very good. Very good, very good. Videos and cartoons, fine. So these cartoons can play a major role in creating a humor in the class. And I will show you quickly. I'll quickly go to that. Yes, demo. Dr. Jyoti, you are right. A demo can be there. Animations, fine, fine. Utpal, games. We need to think. If the games are related to technical understanding, I fully agree with you. Okay, good. Thank you, everyone. So, what can we have? Here is a small list. It is up to your domain, right? It depends on your domain. Images, fine. Video, audio. You have said animation. You have said tables. Yeah. In our engineering field, we have a comparison. Now, this comparison can be made by tables and graphs both. Sometimes tables are effective, sometimes are effective, right? So tables and graphs I have added. This graphical presentation always helpful to students in understanding the behavior, whether it is linear or non-linear or exponential, what. So that is helpful. Next is charts. This chart is a very old method. If you recall, these B.Ed guys who are teaching in the school, they used to prepare the charts. But I would like to add one thing here. If you can create a mind map, have you heard about mind map? Yes. So if you create mind map, that mind map might be very much helpful in remembering things easily. So I'm not saying anything. You can find out mind maps and you can implement that for your course. Okay. Shapes. Yes, various kind of shapes can also be used. And stair steps. When I say stair steps, it is a process which is happening in a step-by-step manner, right? So if you refer the PowerPoint, there are so many readily available charts. You can use it for yourself. What you see right now is one of them. Can you see this animation once again? This is one of them. I would like to show you only one point at a time so that you do not deviate from my talk. This is one of the methods, right? So do the animations, fine. So why we do that? We do that to give power to a point, and that we say point PB. Okay. So in classroom, see what I said is your presentation. Now the next question is, if I want to make efficient, if I want to make enjoyable, if I want to make okay for the whole class, right? So what should be the classroom activities? Teaching is one of them. Anything else that you do in practice? Classroom activity.
Asking questions.
Okay, asking questions, very good. So discussion by asking questions. These days problem is, Dr. Surjit, problem is student has become so lazy and student has become so careless that they do not ask even questions. So being a teacher, if they do not ask the question, then we have to generate questions and then we have to give the answer. This is the truth, but that is our role, huh? Yes, small quiz is the right answer. MCQ format, right answer. Taking a poll, very good. But do not take the poll on some straightforward things, huh? Otherwise there is a debate. And I always used to say, when so many students speak together in my class, I always used to say that I don't want to make my class Sansad Bhavan. So that's not good. Okay, discussion. Fine. Thank you, Dr. Surjit and all who have given the answers. So what should I do? Google quiz is right. Google quiz is right, but that is only during Corona, and that's what I mentioned earlier, huh? I come to know from the coordinator that there was a survey of all the participants about whether this online teaching methodology should continue or not, right? Most of you have said that it's not good methodology, and I also personally believe. I used to say that right now I am talking to my screen. So if I see somebody's face by video, that is not as good as when two human beings are communicating directly, right? Because they are human beings. In Sanskrit, there is a word called Chaitanya. So when a Chaitanya meets Chaitanya, that has different aura, that had different effect, right? So anyway, but Google quiz is also accepted. So talk and explain, that's what we used to do that. We write on the board as and when needed. Use teaching aids by PPT. Yes, this is important. You illustrate with the examples. If you add an example in your discussion, that makes the understanding proper, or that will make the point in student's mind so clear that he can remember it for a very long time. So give the example, and I'm going to show such kind of examples also. Non-verbal communications or expressions. Say we have college from 9 to 4:30 in the evening, and when I take class of 3:30 to 4:30, something happens. What you feel right now? So my students, when I teach the class physically, I can see their faces. Oh, last half an hour, sir, we are tired. They do not speak, but their expression says. And when I get this sense, or when I get this message, I do not allow them to go outside the class immediately, but I change my activity. I change the topic. I change the delivery method. What I do, I show them a video and I ask them, I'm going to show the video of 5 minutes, and at the end of 5 minutes, I'll ask the questions. So do that. When students are tired, not necessary to leave them. Those who are not prepared and those who are not good teachers, they have the excuse to say that I am not able to deliver the last class because students were tired. Sorry, he's not a good teacher. Students' attention, right? Questions and probe, rightly mentioned by Dr. Surjit. Okay, and motivate and appreciate the student. See, when student asks the question, sometimes it happened. The teacher is so tired of the one question, they're directly so, why you are asking such a silly question? This should not be the way to tell to the students. Even if a silly question, please give the answer enthusiastically. Even if they are giving wrong answer, motivate them by saying the slowly, by saying that, oh, you are right, but have you thought of this point? Oh, your answer is partially correct. I know that it is fully incorrect, partially correct. And take that partial and take it to the full level. If you can do that, then I don't think that student will feel bored in your class. Huh? So this is the graph now. This is the psychological graph and then the techniques. Okay. Dr. Naitik, how much time do I have so that I can keep my pace accordingly?
The time limit is the 4, but you can take up to the 4:15, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. I am asking to the coordinator, and coordinator is extending the time, but I am worried about the participants. They really interested to extend the session for 15 minutes? That's the question. Okay. Anyways, but that's what I used to do in my class also. Say when you are teaching 60 students in a class, do you think, Sana Khan, thank you so much. Do you think that all the 60 students are always attentive and always ready to listen you? The answer is no. Sometimes I say in my class that I am teaching only 5 students. Why? Because that 5 students are grasping something from my end properly, right? But being a teacher, I should also prepare my lecture and deliver my lecture in such a way that over a period of time, that 5 students who are interested in my lecture should increase to 15, 30, up to 55. I know that there are 10 students, irrespective of your efforts, they are not going to listen you. I know that, right? But we are speaking only for that 5 students. And my colleagues, you must focus on that 5 students only, right? So this is now psychological. Something which I'm going to show you is psychological. Okay. So there is a graph. Now this graph is, if you see X, learning starts and knowledge, remember, when students are gaining. Okay. So what happened? If it start, the graph is like this. You can see the graph, right? You can see the graph. Initially it is good. When we started at 2:30, you have come up with from your family or from your lunch or something like that. So it takes little time to adjust your mind and to go to this peak. You are fresh. In your mind, there are many other things. What Ritesh Patel is going to talk and what is the effective pedagogy and so, right? So it will take little time. The same thing happened with the students. So my advice, being a teacher, when you start your class, always start your class with a recap of your last session. Always start it, right? Because students' minds are not so powerful to gain things about this. It goes to the peak, right? And then learning starts. After that, that graph will come down. When that graph downs, it will reach to 0 somewhere after some time, right? So what as a teacher you can do now? What as a teacher? Yes, this is the point where you think to take the break. Now, when I say you think to take the break, for teacher, there is no break. But for teacher, I'll give you one tagline. You can use that tagline in your lectures. Okay. You say that, only 10 minutes. This is the last topic. After this topic, we will stop. Just one sentence. last topic, we will stop after that. As soon as you speak this, this chart will behave like this. Look at the chart. You have just put a thought that we are going to get the break, or I am going to stop the session, right? It will again increase, and this is our own experience, right? So how can you do that in your class? It is 1 hour class. Yes, this is the case. You can divide this into sections, and now look here. What you see right now is divided into half an hour each, half an hour, right? So after every half an hour, it will happen. So here you think of break, and then it will increase. After the break, you again start, then there is a decay. Here you think of a break or take the think of the break, again it will increase. This is the break. I hope you understand this graph. Okay? Any questions in this graph? If you do not understand, okay. If you do not have any question, let me go ahead. My point is, relaxing in the class is more important than covering everything. I am finishing my topic in time, but if it is not delivered properly, it's not good. And that is why you should understand student psychology, right? So this graph I have prepared from the student psychology. Okay. So what can you do in the break? Now there is a question: what to do in the break? Here is the right. Right now we are not taking any because we have a 2 hours continuous session. But I used to take the break when I teach my students for 2-3 hours continuously. Normally I do not teach, but say my syllabus is not over and I call them off office hours and I plan for a 2 hour session. I should not continue. Okay, that should be a break. What should you do in the breaks? In the break, there should be a brainstorming, 1 minute quiz, small group discussion, some demo, right? Okay. Going to even if bio break is not needed sometimes. Bio break is not needed, but students are asking for bio break because they do not have any other reason to tell you. Okay, so what I do, I create some animation. So now from this point onward, I'll show you some techniques. Okay, what you can do. Let us say this is now known to everyone, nanometer. Everyone knows what is nanometer, right? When I tell my students that what is nanometer, they will say, some will say it is 1 millionth of a meter. Now this is demonstration. No? This is not part of my presentation. I am giving the demonstration of how you can make your presentation effectively and how you can effectively create the same graph in your session, in your lecture. Okay. So 1 micrometer, 1 millionth, 1 nanometer, 1 billionth, we know that. Yes. But when you say that 3 nanometer diameter cluster is 10 to the power 6 times smaller than the full stop in a typical print, so student will become attentive. How is the typical print full stop? If full stop is there, it's 10 to the power 6 times smaller than that. Can you imagine? Students will say, no, sir, still it is not clear. So then you will give the example. Do you know what is human hair thickness? It is somewhere around 15 micron, right? If it is 15 micron, then yes, somebody speaking. If it is 50 micron, then it is 50,000 smaller than the human hair. If still it is not clear, then I will give this example. I'll say that, do you know atoms is a string of 3 atoms? Oh, not clear. Last and the effective example is this. If I say that the distance between sun and earth is this many kilometers, and the length of the typical rugby or football ground is 110 meters. So if you compare these two, then if you shrink both the distances by 10 to the power 9, right? Then what will happen? If the distance between earth and sun is 1 meter, then the distance or the length of the rugby ground or football ground is 1 nanometer. I hope you understand. I have started by simply 1 nanometer, and students are not able to get what is 1 nanometer. Just to give the feeling what is 1 nanometer, I have prepared this slide. So if you are keeping such kind of slides in between your session, then they will not be only attentive, but at the same time, they will get knowledge from the practical cases. And sometimes I also show the videos. So here is the video. If audio is not okay, don't worry. This video doesn't have more audio, much audio. But here is the frog, and this frog will face some problem. And I have chosen this video during my presentation at IIT Kanpur, when I have given the presentation in 2006, as I have worked on nanodielectrics. So look at the video. I know that this is practically impossible. Can you hear me? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know this is practically not possible that an insect can drag the frog, but just tell you what is nano. And I said this in the sense, when the nanometric particles are added to the material, the performance, properties of the materials can be enhanced. Just to say that I have shown this video, right? Okay. This you will now enjoy. I have 15 minutes, right? Now I'm going to tell you certain practical things and some techniques in the last 15 minutes. So teaching with sense of humor. For that sense of humor, so many things that laughter is the natural and universal phenomenon, and it is benefited to physical as well as psychological state of the body. We know that, but how to do that? So a very simple example I would like to show you. Somebody said cartoon, right? So here is the cartoon. Look at this cartoon. Look at this cartoon. See, this is Ohm's law. I hope that most of you are from the science, and if you are not from science and engineering, at least you know Ohm's law from your school days, right? So what is there? Resistance and current is there. Okay. So it's creating the pressure so that current flow, but resistance is opposing, right? So when you show such kind of things, students will enjoy, right? And they will be able to remember it for a very long time. That is the message. Okay. Also, it will, if you would like to see, the point is you cannot add and every slide this kind of thing. But if you add it with one phenomenon, that phenomenon will be crystal clear in student's mind, right? There should be a willingness to change. If you have willingness, you will get the idea and put that idea into the presentation, right? So that you can progress in any field. Few more pictures I would like to show you, because I would like to have little humor in my presentation now. So far we have discussed about technical things. I'm sorry for the non-Gujarati people, but this is the actual board just nearby the electricity company office. Electricity company office. This is the actual, and it says that please do not behave like a monkey with the electrical equipment. You can call electrician. Right? This is one more. This is just to tell my students that how is the first year student and how is the final year student as far as the curiosity is concerned. As far as the curiosity is concerned, right? And something technical. Look at this. Now you know all. This is related to computer and IT people. Okay. If you look at on any keyboard, you will find this kind of knob on F key and J key on your keyboard. I know that many of you are checking right now whether it is there or not. It is there. It is there. Can someone from computer IT field give the answer that why do we have this? Quickly, we do not have time.
Sir, with the finger, we can judge both the digit.
Absolutely right, Professor Rohit Prajapati. Yeah, you are. Nah, somebody wrote for blind. For blind, you have to keep it for on all the keys. Huh? If you see the railway coach, on railway coach they have it, right? But this is just to identify the position of the index finger on the keyboard without looking at it.
Yes, sir.
Position of index keyboard without looking at it. Right? So say these things. Now this cannot be in the syllabus, my friends. But put something like this only for 2 minutes, not more than that. And that's what I have written here. Read this now. This is the conclusion before we proceed. Be careful in content selection. Content selection of the humor. First of all, it should be non-objectionable. You cannot laugh on somebody's physical limitations. And second means the human should be such that it should not overshadow the lecture content. After completion of this, if student think about this part only, then you will not be able to deliver it, right? Right? So this is sense of humor. I also saw this picture in to electrical students, that in India, these Kirchhoff's laws are not applicable. Look at the number of wires in our country, right? So this is for your information. Yeah, I have so many things to tell about the attributes. Major I have covered, but I have some of the parts because I would like to share with you good practices that I am following since long, and I have good experience. You can add the practices also. Only one slide on the attributes of a good teacher, and then I need to skip my presentation. Okay, who is a good teacher? Mastery over the subject, yes, it is required. Good use of examples and illustrations, yes, I already mentioned, right? And if you give the proper analogy, you're definitely able to explain in a better way, right? Number 3, sense of time. Now this is very important. If I go late by say 3 minutes, what do? If you go even by if you are late by 3 minutes, it is your responsibility being a teacher to tell your students that, oh, I'm sorry, because of an important and urgent work, I'm late today by 5 minutes. If you are saying this to your students, that will make sense to the students, and your students will also become punctual in your class, right? So overshooting is always making overshooting. When I say is the end of the class, sometimes I used to do that. I take 5 minutes, but with their permission. And the same thing I might do today also, right? Dr. Naitik gave me 4:15, but if time permits, or if you permit, I can go on for next 5 to 10 minutes with your due permission. Fine. Being fair consistently. You should not with the impression that this group of students, this number student is very pure, he is arrogant, right? He is student. He is not a teacher, right? So please, you should not be unfair to the students. You should not be unfair to the students. Okay? You should give equal importance and all the justifiable points to every student. Many times I have observed that some of the teachers give material to one student and that student gives the material to the other students. This is not good. They will feel that this student is close to this teacher. Most of the time that student is close to the teacher and he is a good student. Even though he is a good student, and if you are giving good marks, there will be an impression in the class that that student got good marks, not because he is talented, but because he is close to the teacher. Do you think this will create a good environment in the class? So do not share on your wave. Share them at a time. Take their email addresses and share them together, right? So you should be fair. Next, enthusiasm. Okay, you should keep the same enthusiasm in your session, not after teaching the course first time, but even if you are teaching the course after 20 times. I hope that you should not do that. You should take n number of courses. You can have you can teach all the subjects of your domain. But even if you are teaching the same course 10th time, your enthusiasm should be maintained, right? You present the material in student in such a way, or you try to do the introspection. If you do the introspection, I'm sure you will come up with the good ways, good ideas, good thoughts, good presentations over the period of time, right? So you should be enthusiasm. And last one, which normally we do not do, you should go for self-evaluation and self. Yes, by taking the feedback. I'm going to quickly tell you how you can get this feedback. Yes, we have professional systems in our education system that so all the students go to the computer and they have an objective type feedback system and they choose a line. If it is excellent, all in excellent. If it is poor, all in poor. I don't think this feedback system is good. But you can create your own good feedback system. How? I'll tell you later on, right? But these are the attributes of a good teacher. Okay. I'm skipping this part because I would like to tell you, or I would like to share with you the good practices. Okay. Any questions, my friends? Any questions? You can write the questions. Okay, thank you. Thank you. When I say good speaker, I took this, I have prepared this slide. I have prepared this slide from the talk of Dr. Srish Chaudhary from IIT Madras. He delivered a very good one, and from his side I have prepared this. So effective speaker is whom? Grooming. Dress, hair, shave, everything. I am not going in details, okay? But you can observe. Next is body language. If you are teaching, you should stand both of your feet, wear a pleasant and natural smile, okay? And you should move your hands as and when required, meaningful manner, right? Eye contact, very important. You should not talk to only one person. You should talk to whole class, right? You should not look at the ceiling fan or floor or window anywhere. Yes, I know you are not doing it, but not talk to only a group of students. Talk to whole class. And last one is voice modulation. We have faced a lot of problem about this voice because of this pandemic, right? It should not be too loud nor too soft. It should not be too rapid or too slow. And you should modulate your voice according to the situation, according to the topic, according to the content, right? So this is effective speaker, okay? As I said, I'll skip this. But I would like to directly take you to the good practice. Before I go for the good practice, one example from ancient scripture, right? Can you see? I would like to share you something about this example. Okay. I was reading a book, and in that book it is written that the teacher should be like a fire. हिंदी में अगर मैं कहूँ, शिक्षक अग्नि जैसा होना चाहिए. That was written, right? And then I read that how a teacher can be like a fire. How can a teacher like a fire? Then I read that in detail, and I come to know a very important point. The teacher should be like a fire, because if the student come to the fire, or if a person come to the fire, then that fire give warmness, right? But that warmness is only with the proper distance. If the student is, or if a human being is too close to the fire, then he will burn up. Right? So if it is too far, he will not get the warmness. If it is too close, then there is a burning, isn't it? So in this way, the teacher should be like a fire. Just a minute. My teacher session is going on. Sorry for the interruption. So when I say it should be like a fire, that student should not hesitate to come to you for the genuine problem. And at the same time, student should not have any kind of courage to enter in your cabin or in your class with a bad attitude or like anything. I hope you understand. They should have courage to talk to you freely, and they should have fear to not do nonsense things in your class. In that sense, it is a fire. Okay. And now last part, good practices that I am following, and with that I will finish my talk. Good practices. Practice number 1, analogy. If you can set the analogy of your talk, you can easily do that. In electrical engineering, we have hand tool and thumb, right? So we give the analogy that thrust stamp for thumb, so TT matching, right? Field and first finger FF matching, current and second finger or center finger CC matching. If you are matching this thing, it's a good analogy, right? You can create this kind of analogy everywhere. Next point, you can have notebook sessions. See, many times what happens, student only take the notes of about what is going to be there in the examination. I have a practice that I ask my students to prepare their notebooks for the technical, and I also tell them that you get another session at the backside of your notebook. And in the backside of the notebook, I always give them conceptual understanding. So my students gave me feedback that conceptual understandings, which are part of the syllabus, but not more theoretical, that concepts are helpful to them to refer even after their graduation, when they appear for the competitive exam, when they appear for the interview, right? For them, it is helpful. So if you ask your students to have that conceptual, that will give the knowledge to the students. For example, I am teaching the national grid. So I ask them that this is the website of the national grid. This is the website of state grid. This is the website of the local company. I hope you get my point, right? So that is the second point. Number 3, now this is not applicable to the private universities, but say you are in a university where there are 100 colleges, like we are associated with Gujarat Technological University. We have 150 colleges. I know that I'm not going to set the paper, but I am aware that what are the probable questions of the paper. So what I can say that when I teach my students, I say this question is important, 1 tick mark. This question is very important, 2 tick marks. This question is very, very important, 3 tick marks. What will happen? Whether that question will be there in the examination or not is a secondary question, but the student will become attentive and student will try to understand that point with. So these are the practices which might help to keep your students in the class. Question bank. You can give the question bank of every chapter if it is needed. Then innovation in oral examination. In innovation, we are asking monotonous questions to the students, right? Right? Do not go for that monotonous things. You can have some innovation. You can have some innovations in such a way that engage the students practically and also learn. I'm talking about oral examination. Most of the examinations can work. That is not practice, right? Content beyond syllabus. Yeah, I also teach them some content which is beyond syllabus, but related to or in line with the syllabus. Now, this depends on the time, but you can go for it. Yes, quick recap. I already mentioned that at the beginning of the session, you can do the quick recap so that you can have some questions and some incentives also you can give. You can correlate with the laboratories. I used to correlate not only with the laboratories, but you also need to correlate the. I'm sorry, my friends, I'm going a little bit faster, but that is due to lack of time. Technical punishment. Yeah, this punishment is important. We cannot have a physical punishment to the students in college days, right? So you give them technical punishment. If somebody is speaking, whatever is topic going on, you say that you say that I'm getting the messages in between. You say that ongoing topic, you prepare a 5-slide presentation. I'll give you 5 minutes and you can give the presentation in the next class or next week. Ask the student to prepare the presentation on the topic and give him or her 5 minutes. But that is not to pull out him. If that student prepares the presentation, appreciate them and give the corrections. Say you can do this thing by this way or that way. It should not be like that. It is a punishment. So though I am using the word punishment, never use the word punishment. Right? You can also share the industrial application. Okay. These are some of the good links. There are a lot of problems in engineering and the other things where there is a copy of numericals. So we are using we are using Excel sheets. I will show you the Excel sheet in the next slide to avoid the mass copy in the numerical specifically. Yes, attendance sheet. I hope you can see the pan. This is a 4-color pan that I am using for taking the attendance and keeping the record. Picture I'm going to show you the next slide. So this is the attendance sheet. For the attendance sheet, practical and theory both, will show you in the next slide. How to use it. And then last one is the feedback. In feedback, I must know what are the positive points, what are the negative points, and what are the suggestions from the students. You should take it at least when you teach any batch first time. When you are not in contact with the students and when you are taking the first subject in the batch. Right? What is this Excel sheet? Look at this Excel sheet. This Excel sheet is prepared for numerical. Okay? I hope you can read. This is enrollment number. This enrollment number is 15. Okay? And when I change this 15, the whole numerical data will change. So these are the given data. And in their data, this minimum current is 2.15. Why? Because that student's enrollment number is 15. You can do this by using the other softwares also. But what will happen? That every student will have different data because his enrollment number is different. Last 2 digits of the enrollment number is different. And that student has to calculate according to his or her enrollment number. And you can verify it by using this sheet. Right? So what will happen? Those who are regular, those who are enthusiastic in solving, they'll be happy to see their answer up to 4 digits. You can see the 4-digit answers at the bottom, right? And those who are not doing, they will have fear to do that properly. Okay, so this is or engineering practicals are the mass copy. So to avoid that, you can do that. This is another example. Yes, I said alternatively it can be done by MATLAB, Scilab, or any other software as per your field. Okay, about attendance sheet, I'm going to show you a picture. Look at this picture. This is my own attendance sheet of the practical. My own attendance sheet of the practical. If you look at the attendance sheet, it is with a different color pen, right? But what you can see, this is enrollment number. This is the attendance on 28th June, 28/6. That's what I have written here. Second column is empty because I used to put the marks of that practical in the second column, and so on and so forth. At the bottom, you can see the topics which I have taught them, right? So what this attendance sheet shows, yes, use of multicolors so that it can show you your regularity also. Many teachers sign the file at the end of the semester. No one can claim by looking at this picture that this teacher has signed the file at the end of the semester. So just to show that I am a regular teacher and I am checking it regularly. Okay, so this is experiment name. This is experiment wise marks of the students, and sometimes there is a mask bunk. So that also I can have in my record, right? So this is what the practice I am following. Yes, I know in Corona you cannot follow this practice. I know very well. Post Corona, you can definitely use this methodology, right? This is the theory attendance where I write the topics at the end of each and every lecture. So I can tell or I can show to the higher authorities or you must be aware about accreditation part, right? So during accreditation, these kind of things are very much helpful, which shows your regularity being a teacher. Okay, about feedback. So normally what happened, the purpose of the feedback is to make showing in the proper direction or not. This is the last part, and then I will end my session. This is the last part. Okay, so feedback is required. There are two ways: casual feedback and systematic. We are not going for the systematic because I know that is not in your hands and it is done by your institute management. But casual feedback. See, casual feedback, what I used to do, say I have started teaching a subject in one class. I'm teaching in that class for the first time, right? When I teach for the first time, I'm not aware about student psychology. So say 10 lectures I have completed or 15 lectures I have completed, means just before the mid semester, I ask my student randomly, or in some class where very few students, where say there is some event and the whole class is not present. So utilize that time. How you can utilize that time? Ask your students and say them that I would like to know the positive points of my lectures, negative points of my lectures, and if you have suggestions from your. Okay, tell them that do not write your name or your enrollment number or anything in your class. So identity is not needed, right? And tell them, give the genuine feedback. Also tell them, see, my body language is little bit fast, so I know. So I also tell them that you can also give non-technical comment on my body language, my dressing, any other things that I have behaved with you. Everything they can write, right? But they should write freely. If they write freely, you will get the genuine feedback, right? Somebody wrote in my chat box that my presentation is good, right? The same thing my student also said in this, right? So you get the feedback. Yeah, they say good teaching method. Negative, read the negative. Sometime over angry or too small. Do you know too small reason is? That too small reason is a talk with the friends, right? So they may write it. Okay, no problem. Sometimes I also tell them you write as many things as you can. So sometimes they write more points. Syllabus is completed in time. Discipline is good. See, most of the students want to remain in discipline. It is only there are 3 to 5 culprits who are encouraging them to disturb the environment. So pick up that group and take them in the group. So discipline is also good. Overall, everything is going on in a best manner. This is in between the semester. Yes, suggestion also they said we should keep working or we should continue with this methodology. Now this is compliment. They are giving the endorsement to my methodology, isn't it? I also try to remember negative points. See, it's not that I got this overnight. When I was teaching before 15 years, I got the comment that, sir, the speed of classes is too high, right? So I have to reduce my speed. Isn't it? So you should rethink. And if you rethink, you get it. See, this is one more positive suggestion. Please do not focus on GTU syllabus. I used to say that, see, if I talk about other things, then I will not be able to finish the syllabus, right? So they say me that, sir, don't worry about GTU syllabus. Please give us more practical knowledge. This is what the suggestion is. Overall, you are very good teacher. We are to guide you. These are the compliments. And my friends, I'm sure that you will also get these compliments if you follow these techniques or whatever techniques you feel good, right? And this is real satisfaction of this job. Many times people say that teaching is a noble profession, right? But how teaching can be a noble profession if the students are not satisfied with the teacher? So it is a noble profession in the sense that the fruits of this profession are not immediately known to the teachers as well as to the students. If you feel that my student will do the things in a very well manner within the short future, I'm sorry. My students will do the magical things, I'm sorry. They will not be able to do the magical things in a year or two, but they will definitely do the magical things if you have given them all of this during their career, 10 years, after 15 years. And that is what our role is. Right? So this is about feedback. I'm skipping, my friends, due to lack of time. It's already 4:22. So I stop here. Okay. But if you introspect your thing, this is the last slide from my end. Evaluate your lecture. If you evaluate from students' feedback, those who do not evaluate, quality of teaching become stagnant or become steady after some time. But those who evaluate, their quality of teaching will definitely grow over the period of time, and they will be the good teachers for their students, right? So here I finish. I also wanted to talk about integral education, but due to lack of time, I am not going for that. These are the last and final words of my test. So finally, effective teacher is one who studies the subject well, understands the topics completely, explain the concept clearly with the simplicity, and tries to find out whether the students have understood it or not, right? This is a good teacher. Accept his mistakes and is ready to learn from the others, including the students. Help the students to carve their entire personality, introspect continuously to improve himself. The teachers who nurture our humanity will remember with a deep sense of gratitude. These are the words of the students, right? And these are some of the inspiring quotes about the teacher. And yes, behind every successful student lies an exhausted teacher. Hope you understand this final quote. And I finish my session here. The session is open for the question answer. If you have any, or whatever is planned by the coordinator. Questions, please, if you have any.
If you have any doubt, then you can ask to the sir. Session is open for the discussion.
I'm thankful to everyone, those who are writing excellent session or good comments about the session. You are free to send the mistakes or something on my email ID. My email ID is patel@gset.ac.in. Okay, you can also share with me your experience. Yes, I also do the counseling of not only students but my teachers as well. So if I can help you in any manner in development of your career or improvement in your teaching, I'll be happy to do that. You can approach me anytime on riteshpatel@gset.ac.in. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Naitik.
I hope the session is very much informative and the good. So I request to participants to give the feedback. Already they have given the feedback in the chat box, but I request to some of the participants give the feedback to turn on your video. Sir, it is very much informative session and lively session, and there is no need to say more about the session because already participant appreciated your session into the chat box, and it is overwhelming presentation, sir. And we love to hear you again and again, sir, because at every time we are hearing you, that time we can learn the new things from your side, sir.
It's my
So
pleasure.
yes, sir. And from the entire team of our ARCP, we are presenting a certificate of appreciation. So kindly accept this certificate, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So the session was very excellent, sir. The content of the session, I mean, throughout the session, I enjoyed your content, sir, and it was very practical, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
So I request to all.
Dr. Bhargavi, sir, your session was very nice today. I really enjoyed your session, especially the focus on humor. I think that was very amazing because in today's scenario, if you see, humor is missing, and students they do have some kind of difficulties. Teachers, we have some kind of difficulties, and to overcome these difficulties, humor is required in today's lives. So in this pandemic, so I really enjoyed your session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your compliments. Thank you.
Now I request all the participants kindly turn on your video so we can take the snap with the sir. And there is one more request to all the participants. I have the local contact here to publish our news in the media. If anybody have the contact in your place, then kindly personal WhatsApp me, so I will send the detail to you to publish our FDP related news in your city also. Is anyone from our side are working as a journalist or working or associated with the news agency? Then kindly WhatsApp me. So I will send the detail to publish our FDP data. The session is over, but I request to remain here because there is valedictory function tomorrow, and I want to give some instruction regarding that. There is the two session arranged tomorrow at the last day, and at 2:30 there is the valedictory function. Sir, I request to join the valedictory function. Ritesh Patel, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And after the completion of the valedictory function, there is the test, and it is essential to get the 60% marks in the test. So I will upload all the PPT again in the WhatsApp group, and request to Dr. Ritesh Patel, sir, kindly provide the PPT because participant asking that PPT, sir, and because they need to prepare for the test, sir.
Sure. I will share with you. You can share it with the participants.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your cooperation, sir.
Yeah.
Any participant have a doubt regarding any kinds of the certificate, getting the certificate or test, then the session is open. I will solve your doubt here.
Sir, how many questions will be there in the test?
Sir, approximately 30 question we will going to put. But MCQ will be easy because we all are the faculty from the same community. That's why do not worry about this. And
Okay, sir.
if possible, then I will share the some tips or some material with you, which is beneficial for you. But today I am not going to share because sometimes people getting 100% mark, all the participants getting 100% mark, then it is difficulty for me also. Anything else from your